to give a presentation to our students basically. So I just once again welcome to our RVS family along with our management, faculties, and students. Okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
just brief students. I'll just briefly give a brief about Mr. Vivek. Mr. Vivek is an architect and planner with overall 20 years of work experience, with varied experience from private practice as well as private corporate to MNCs, with an international experience of 6 years in Dubai. So his educational qualification is basically an BAc degree from Tyagaraja College of Engineering, and he has done his masters in M-Plan in SAP, and he's also done his masters in MBA project management in SMIT. So he is currently the design head of Ascot International Management Private Limited, which is a part of Capital Land Singapore. So he is heading the design team of architects and engineers of various disciplines, responsible for spearheading all projects on the design front, including investments, joint ventures, management contract projects, and advise development aspects of the projects, right from feasibility study of the project to the design management, and support during construction until the completion of soft opening of the project. And I would like to mention about his personal achievements mainly. And he has won about the 300 plus awards in painting and sketching competition, including a national award and 2 state awards in painting. And he has also won a architectural competition in 2000 conducted by Indian Society of Health Administration, Bangalore, and awarded with a design job of the same. And he is also best outgoing student of 1997 batch, and also as well as he's outgoing student in award of cultural committee of Tyagaraja College of Engineering. So I'd like to thank once again Mr. Vivek for being here to give a lecture to our students. Thanks.
Thank you for the lovely introduction. Thanks, Suresh. Thank you so much. Hello, Raman. I can see Raman as well.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi. All right. So should I directly go to my presentation, Suresh?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Share screen. So are you able to see a single slide or the slide by the side also?
It still says its screen is sharing.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Are you able to see my screen yet?
Pradyumna, can you able to see the screen?
No, sir. No, sir. Get to start, sir.
It says my screen sharing is paused.
Pradyumna, can you check that one?
Sir, you can stop screen share and again you can.
Okay.
Yes.
It's visible, Vivek.
But are you able to see 2 slides or 1 slide?
We can see the full screen, sir. Yes, sir.
No, full screen means are you able to see 2 slides or just 1 slide?
One
Single
slide.
One
Single
slide.
slide.
My preview is also there, so I thought you are seeing my preview also. Okay. Okay. Good morning, guys. Good morning to everybody. First of all, my very, very, very sincere apologies for being late. And Raman must be laughing now because this is my usual practice. I'm so sorry. I tried to be on time for every. Today, 15 minutes early, I came to this place, but this technical issue had to put me into this situation. I'm really, really sorry. But Raman must be thinking I've heard this million times. Okay. All right.
Yes, yes.
Okay, guys. So I can see some of the students' faces also. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Sidbinesh, and I didn't see your name, Melvin. I can see only couple of. Oh, okay. There are many. Okay. So I have to click the arrow down to see you're all there. All right. Okay. I'm so glad to be here, Pa. First of all, thanks for this opportunity. I'm really, really happy that I'm able to present this session to you. First of all, this is not like your usual class. Raman, don't get upset. This is not the same presentation, though the first slide is the same. No, Raman might have seen this presentation a million times, so I thought I'll just warn him.
Yes, sir.
Only the first slide
First
is the
slide.
same.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, first of all, this is not like your usual class or any other session that has been organized. I am not the usual kind of teacher that comes to your class to, put so many information into your head and, you either listen to me or don't listen to me. It's absolutely your choice to be here. So this is how I always start with my class with like this, you get out of my session if you're not interested. So today's bunking the session is not that easy. If I'm in your class, at least you have to, pretend as if you're looking at me, or even if you're sleeping, you have to keep your eyes open and sleep. There are so many problems, but today bunking class is as simple as this. Your bunking class is as simple as closing your camera and you can watch a movie in the Netflix or whatever you want to do, you can do. So if you don't find this interesting, I think I failed somewhere, and you're more than welcome to leave the session anytime, right? So if just be in the session if you want to have some fun. This is all my understanding here. In my opinion, learning comes with a lot of fun, Pa. If somewhere you're learning, your fun stops, I think your learning also has stopped drastically. Is my honest understanding. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then it's not getting into your mind. You're only just doing it physically. That's the reason I always try to tie up a lot of fun as part of my presentation, so that you're able to get what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, it's as good as some movie or music happening on the side and you're doing what you want to do. So are you guys ready? Really ready? Can I have one
Yes,
guess from
sir.
everybody?
Yes,
Can you
yes.
say
Sir.
lovely?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. That's a lovely participation. I love this. Great. At least I'm seeing a lot of faces this time, and at least I don't have this complex of talking alone to the computer. That's a terrible part about these days presentation. Yeah, seriously. Very nice to see your faces. So keep it up. I'm just going to get into my presentation now. So the whole point today is all about why do you need practical training, right? So why do you need practical training, folks? I just want to hear from you guys some simple few answers. What do you think, first of all? Why do you think a practical training is required? Just give me some random answers and what do you think? Can I have someone answer, please?
It's basically
It,
just to understand the work of us.
Yes, correct. Okay. I
it
just want to get some few views, like what. See, honestly, you're in your third year and fourth year. You obviously know about a lot of facts now, and you already have some preset ideas and intention why you need to go to this practical training. So my question is, why do you need practical training, folks? So what do you think is necessary for you to go for a practical training, in your opinion?
bridges the gap, like from academic to professional things. So you get trained and adapted to what's going to come in the future.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Then anybody else? Why do you need practical training at all?
Basically, whenever it's a job or anything, it comes with a manual. So you need to know how things work. So it will help you further to showcase showcase what you're capable of, or maybe work professionally.
Beautiful, right? Great. I'm sure you have some idea about why you need this training at all, right? Practical training. Everyone has been doing this for years, and our curriculum is designed in such a way. And some of you might have completed the practical training also, and some are waiting to know what it is. So this whole session is all about brushing on the basics and trying to understand why you have to do this first of all, right? So once you understand that part, I think you will have clarity on how to approach that, right? So there is this slide is all about that says nothing is more practical than a good theory. You know, that's a what to say. Is that theory or is it practical? You know, so there is always a theory and there is always a practical way of approaching it, right? Okay, theory is something that tells you what it is, right? So you it gives you an idea about what is the whole factor behind it. But practical is actually when you apply that theory and see if it works, right? So this theory and practical has been a part of your life right from your beginning of your childhood days till now, right? Be it a baby, they would have said, you know, if you touch fire, it burns your finger. You know, if you touch your fire, it burns your finger. That's a theory. But you would never stop doing it unless you touch the fire once by yourself, right? So this is the point. That's where your basic theory and practical start at the very first point in your life. You don't believe it until you see it on your own eyes and until you experience, right? So it's a kind of reinstating the thought you have already in your mind and whether confirming to yourself whether the theory works or not. So it's right from a child touching a fire, or you know, you getting to you know, there is a lot of things, inquisitive things we would have heard during childhood days. You know, one of my friends told me that he was driving a car and his son asked him like, what happens if we switch off the car right now when the car is moving? You know, so you won't get the theory that he said, like, you know, it is impossible to switch off, but if you switch off, it's very difficult because this is a power steering. This power steering gets jammed and the steering will not even move. So you will might meet with an accident. So the boy actually had to switch it off and understand what happens after you do that, right? Like this, our basic DNA is such a way that we want to experience things to believe, right? So it is there in our genes right from the beginning. Like if someone says this is how things are, you won't take it and accept it right away. You know, that's our whole inquisitive mind. You know, that is the reason we are advanced than other animals, that we challenge everything, right? When an idea is given to you, you constantly keep challenging whether is he lying or not, is that true or not. And especially in this era where, you know, Google is right away available, you're not ready to believe anybody in this life. You know, you immediately Google and check whether what is he bluffing or is he really saying the truth. So today, in these days, you cannot just throw facts which are not facts. You know, you have to be really precise. And the learning has become very interesting and has become very approachable. You know, the today's internet world is so linked that, you know, someone doing something in the US last night is instantly there in your computer that night, at that moment, at that second. You know, it's a live feed. So this, we are becoming global citizens right now, if you notice. You know, why is our architecture getting influenced? Why are we changing as a person? Why has our dressing sense changed? Why has our thinking changed? Is all because you're constantly exposed to a lot of new ideas, right? And you cannot, in this generation, one thing you should really realize is you cannot stop information reaching you. You know, unless you switch off the data and completely throw the mobile phone off and go sit in middle of the forest where nobody can reach you and only personally come and talk to you, then you can shut off yourself. But otherwise, you cannot stop information reaching you, right? This is as cruel and as naked truth as it is. Today, even if you don't want to hear about something, today we are stuck in a very bad situation where coronavirus has actually absolutely turned our life upside down. How many of you would have thought that, you know, today I don't want to know how many deaths happened in the city, but that still information reaches you some way or the other, right? it can be on WhatsApp, it can be on the friend who heard it from the news, or it is directly from the news. So today, information reaching you is at unbelievable speed, right? If something goes right or something goes wrong, reaches you so fast. And I'm betting you, I bet with you, you try stopping information reaching you, you will not be able to stop it. You are in such a kind of the world because today everything is open. Those days were the days when we had something called a personal diary, and we wrote all personal information in that, and see to that nobody reads it. We have different ways of wrapping the sheet and all that to just understand if somebody tried opening it. So we are so careful about that, and we get so angry if somebody tried to read what you written in the diary. But today's world is just the opposite, my friends. You write something in the Facebook and you get so wild if nobody has read it. you know you measure your liking by how many people read it and how many people liked it. So today's world is functioning in a very, very different way, and we are one lucky generation that has seen the transition in very, 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 very drastic speed. We are at least 20 years ahead of you, and 20 years in these days is a lot of time. you know I come from a background where I was thinking how to create my email address. I was once in a point in time during my college days, I was thinking, do I really require an email address? Like everyone is creating, okay. Just because everyone's creating, why should I create? I don't need one. I belong to that generation. And I belong to the generation where I completely submitted my thesis with hand-drafted, completely hand-drafted sheets. Today, I myself am not able to believe that I'll be able to do those many sheets and submit or for a review theory, for a review. Uh, all A0 kind of sheets with watercolors, watercolor presentations and all that. I can't even imagine doing it now because we are so used to this internet era. And this is how we are all molded today. So all that I'm trying to tell you is a theory is something that can be so easily tested these days, whether it is working or not. And if you don't want to test it, you go to YouTube and click it. There are 1,000 idiots who have tested it already and posted the videos. And you say, if you do this, you will fail. How all you fail, you can see 100 videos, even if you don't want to try. So visually, my friends, there is always a way to find out if a theory works or not. But the point is, a theory can work and theory can fail. But do you know that whether you work or fail is the point, right? So this is where you need to test yourself and see whether you got it right or you didn't get it, or why this practical experience is very, very, very important, right? So I like to rewind my life many more years, actually not few more in front of these kids, many more years towards my school days, to give you some examples of how the practicals and theories worked in my life. Okay. So first point is like whether you, first of all, do you really understand the theory? Is a question. You're all studying architecture now, and somewhere you're going to get to the practical training. But first of all, have you understood what architecture is? Even to go there and test it yourself. So I'm going to my childhood days where I was in my fifth grade or sixth grade. So where this whole thing about Earth's gravity was introduced. It was such an interesting topic when the physics master came and told, you know what, Earth is not a flat stuff, it is actually a circular stuff, and you're standing on all the directions. Even if you're feeling as if you're standing on top of a flat surface, you're actually standing on an inclined angle of the globe, but you're still feeling that you are standing straight. That was such a fascinating fact. It was like by sixth standard, I was like thoroughly shocked thinking about it. Okay, is he really saying the truth, or is he bluffing? And those days we didn't have any building more than G+2 structure. Even to go to climb to the top of the terrace and see whether the horizon is slightly bending. And we haven't even taken a flight to see the globe is round. So you just have to believe it. When someone says, you just have to believe it. They all said Earth is round, and Earth is a globe kind of a structure, and gravity is what is keeping you. You have no clues about how many fights I've had with my father and my physics master, just negotiating this fact that it's not curved. I in fact, took my dad for a walk in the morning. You won't believe. I pulled his hand and walked. Where is the curve? Where is the curve? It's still straight. It's still straight. I remember asking my father, saying that, it's not a curve. It's still a straight line. Where do you say it's a curve? So it took me some time to actually understand that you need to go really beyond a point to actually understand that globe is turning. So everybody, now there is a funny fact. My one of my teachers in the music class said Krishna once showed open the mouth and showed he was eating mud, and his mom asked him to open the mouth, and he opened the mouth and showed the entire universe was there. The only question that stuck me was, if Krishna had the entire universe on the mouth, and where were Krishna and his mom standing? So these kind of things come to my mind very randomly. So I kept asking my father, like, how is the earth flat and all that. So this kept on going on and on. Okay. So this theory came to me. So I started accepting the fact that it was a curve. Okay. So this doubt came to me when I was on my 6th standard. I still remember my physics master doing, explaining this to me. So my question was, can we jump high in the sky? Okay. And remain there. Wait for the world to rotate and remain until America comes in front of you. And just come down when we want to land in America. Is that not logical, my friends? It's stupid, but a genuine doubt as a kid, right? Just think about it. You just go up in the sky. Like, what is the tallest building recorded in Earth ever today? Like 700, 800 meters. You just have to stay 900 meters above the sky and just stay there. Okay. Wait for the Earth to rotate and just come down when America comes. As simple as that. And so this is my question to my sir. So I was thinking, like, even now I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, why is not possible? I know. you know. So my whole thing came to this point, like, why are we not, why is that, flight such a great deal? So they also told me that Earth takes 24 hours to, revolve once, rotate by itself once. So my question was, Nick, I've never been on a flight yet. So it should, if the Earth can rotate by itself in 24 hours, the least time that should take to go to the other side of the globe is 12 hours, right? Even if you're staying in one place and let the globe rotate, right? When you stay in a place and let the globe rotate, it shouldn't take more than 12 hours to reach the other part of the world. So why is it taking more than 12 hours, and why a flight should take 22 to 28 hours to reach America? This is a basic question I had in my mind. So, I had all theories of flying and why things are. So my only question is it not okay? You're saying, we have to travel so long, the flight and all that. But my question is very, very simple. Just go up, stay, wait for the globe to rotate, and come down. As simple as that. It sounds very simple, right? My physics master was an awesome, amazing person. Till now, physics is my favorite subject because of him, I should say. And this is one off the record. I mean, I'm digressing a bit. You go to your school life and you pick your best, your most favorite subject. I am sure it's because of your favorite teacher. You go and see it is most of the time because of your favorite teacher. And that is how your life is molded, my friends. Because of that, you're interested in a subject. Because of that, you choose a few courses. So life gets molded. That's a different point. Okay, so this was my answer from my physics master. He said, when you kick a ball straight up in the air while playing, does it fall back on your head or on the neighbor's t-shirt? you know like perfectly straight. He made it very clear, you're not kicking it an angle. Or so I was thinking and thinking and thinking. Then we thought, okay, if you throw the ball up in the air, it actually comes to your head only. It doesn't land in the neighbor's head, right? So this is where he made me think and think and think. He just told me this and he asked me to go home. He didn't give me the answer. So I was thinking about all night, dreaming about it. I would have bugged my father so much about it. And he tried explaining, but I wouldn't agree. So all this happened. And then, then the answer came to me, so he came and told me that, the circumference of the earth is around 24,900 miles. That is 4,000 kilometers. And that means in order to travel halfway around the world in 12 hours, you have to be traveling about 1,038 miles per hour. That is 1673 kilometers per hour. It should take the airliner about 21 hours to go half the way around the world. So this was actually the answer he gave me. And if someone of you are thinking why that's not possible, this is the answer. But that was my shocking realization. I've given some images to show my reaction. That's how I actually felt. You know, today we have a lot of jokes about Rajnikant also shot by a bullet at the back of his head, which was fired by him and traveled around the globe. So there are so many jokes about Rajnikant and globe. I love this personality, by the way. And so this is the answer that was given to me in 6th grade. But this is not the level of understanding that is required for a 6th grader, right? So still reach safe and alive. Average cruising speed for a passenger jet is around 575 miles per hour. I know some of you are Googling already. I got this information from Google as well. So don't try to challenge me. So, this is why we are taking 12 hours, more than 12 hours to reach that other part of the world. My friends, the whole idea of why I'm narrating this example to you is testing a theory, right? A theory was given to me and I didn't accept it right away. And my mind was challenging the entire thing. Why? Okay. Then I went to my physics master again and said, okay, this is all right. But why my theory still doesn't work? You can spend, okay, if you're spending so much fuel to travel across the world when the world is already moving, ஓடுற பஸ்ல ஏன்டா ஓடி ஏறுறங்கிற மாதிரி தான் என் டவுட். So நிக்கிற பஸ்ல ஓடி ஏறனா ரைட், ஓடுற பஸ்ல நீ ஏன் ஓடி ஏறணும்? அதுதான் ஓடிட்டு இருக்குல்ல ஆல்ரெடி. அப்படிங்கும்போது லைக் when the world is already rotating, why do you have to fly around to get there is my point. So I asked him, why didn't you spend some energy instead of flying, go to the flight and remain in the opposite direction of the earth? Not flying, you just go stand there and remain in the opposite direction. Why is that not possible? So, and then wait for America to come and then come down. Still, so this doubt kept boggling my mind and my mind, and then it see, this is where I tell that answers are for the inquisitive minds, right? Your answers are available everywhere, pa. Answers are always there, but it only reaches the person who's actually asking the right question. So I asked this question in my 6th grade, and this was the answer finally that gave to me. Escaping that gravity is not easy, my friend. That is when he spoke to me about escape velocity. I was the first student in the 6th grade to learn about this term, escape velocity. I've shown some few images for just to demonstrate how escaping is difficult. You can flush yourself in the toilet, or you can plan a jailbreak and police are waiting for you on the opposite end. So escaping something is not that easy. So the lowest velocity which a body must have in order to escape the gravitational attraction of a particular planet or the object is the escape velocity. And that takes a heavy load of fuel and some part of the economy of the entire country to keep you in that space. So that is what is escape velocity. That is as much you have to spend to understand. So this is all about asking the right question when you are testing a theory, right? So now my clarity is very, I have utmost clarity on that point, and just because I asked the right questions, right? So how many of you have questioned your own theories in architecture? How many times have you questioned your own theories to this extent in architecture is my point. As simple as understanding gravity of earth, as simple as that. But everything looks simple before you get into details, my friend. You think, okay, this is all is the theory and it is going to work, but it's not that way. You need to practically see it. So in my other presentation, I used to talk about how much is 25 mm. Like, no, this 25 mm matter to you much in your life. So 25 mm is just this much, and you can imagine too many things in that. But the 25 mm is a great deal for a person sitting on a wheelchair. If there is a level difference in the road like that, try putting yourself in the wheelchair and put your weight on it and try to move the wheel and maneuver that simple 25 mm, my friends. It looks 25 mm so simple, right? So that is when your theory is challenged. You think it's just 25 mm. Put yourself in the wheelchair, put yourself in the arm and try to rotate the wheel with your load trying to get over the 25 mm. Then you will bloody realize what the 25 mm is. So there is a lot of understanding on theory, and it completely shatters when you get to practicals, right? So this is where your mind needs to unlearn to learn a lot of facts, and that's what happens during your practical training. You are all assuming facts, and you're all assuming this is architecture. It's all fun filled life now. It's architecture is one of the most fun filled courses ever in this world. I would challenge anybody, any design course for that matter, right? Because it involves a lot of creativity and a lot of, you can compare the engineering students and yourself in the hostelers might know this. They'll be studying so badly, banging their head against the book, and we'll be with loud music and trying to do design and dancing in the corridors. So this is the difference between our studying and their studying. You would have seen this million times. So testing a theory is absolutely different for different people, I'm trying to say. So when there is a theory, how do you test it is what is your practical training all about. So this fun was happening. Another fun fact I would like to say is, like, this was a shocking realization in my own class. I think Raman knows it. I've told him already. One of my friends in my class actually thought that world was like a globe and water is filled in it. Like, like a globe, and water is filled in it. And that's how you see the world, as a sea around. I was terribly shocked. I'm not even going to tell his name because you might end up in his own firm doing the practical training. So I don't want to. I don't want to give the name. So, so this was his thought. So how much can you explain a theory to a person? So I went back to my, gravity example. I spoke about the football. I spoke about everything. And I told him that actually, you know what? Everything is sticking to each other, and that's actually world. Water is around it, and it's not inside. It's actually around the globe. And he was smoking and smoking, and he was listening to me. Okay, and he got the idea. Okay, so okay, we all like 4 or 5 guys trying to convince to him what is gravity. Okay, now don't ask me how he got into architecture. That's a big question. Even we had. Okay, so we are trying to explain. Then finally, after 5-6 cigarettes, he got the idea. Okay, so now I had my doubt. மச்சான் அவனுக்கு நிஜமாவே புரிஞ்சான்னு எனக்கு டவுட்டா இருக்குடா அப்படின்னு. ஓகே, சரி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டு பார்ப்போம் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஓகே மச்சான், இப்போ கிராவிட்டி இல்லைன்னா என்னடா ஆகும் அப்படின்னு. லைக் யூ அண்டர்ஸ்டுட் வாட் இஸ் கிராவிட்டி, ரைட்? யா, ஐ அண்டர்ஸ்டுட் வாட்டர் இஸ் ஸ்டிக்கிங். வாட் வில் ஹேப்பன்? கிராவிட்டி இல்லட்டு என்னடா ஆகும் நம்ம முடிச்சுட்டு யோசிச்சான். என்ன ஆகும்? தண்ணி எல்லாம் கீழே ஊத்திரும் அப்படின்னா. லைக் ஓகே, இவனுக்கு இந்த அளவுக்கு புரிஞ்சதே பெரிய விஷயம். அதோட விட்டாச்சு. So theories can be in your mind in different ways, and you might understand the theory in different ways. So architecture, every definition you have read in this course is like that, my friends. Right from form follows function la irundhu padichirpeenga. There is a lot of what is this, what is that அப்படிங்கறதெல்லாம் நீங்க படிச்சிருப்பீங்க. படிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் when you go to practical training is when you will stop and think, did I learn it right, or did I learn it with a purpose? Is this bringing some knowledge into my mind? Why am I taught with all these things? What is history of architecture doing in my course? Why am I learning mathematics? So there are so many questions that come to your mind when you practically get into experiencing. So I come to that. And another simple example is, in the same physics class, there was this class about inertia. I'm sure a lot of you would have understood this point. Inertia, an object or a body continues to be in state of rest or uniform motion unless otherwise the state has changed by an external force. So this is actually inertia. Okay, so everybody were asked about question, give an example. Ellarme on the football odikirudhu, pushing a chair. So they gave a lot of example where object at rest can be disturbed and it gets into some other motion. And steering a wheel also, a car goes in a direction, you apply external force and only then the car turns. So my example was actually dusting a mat. So dusting a mat, இதுக்கு தீவிரமா யோசிச்சாதான் இனர்ஷியாவுக்கும் இதுக்கு இருக்கிற கனெக்ஷன் புரியும். Actually, when you hang the mat and dust it, the dust moves. I mean, the mat moves and the dust remains. That's why the dust falls down. When you're dusting a mat, right? So இந்த அளவுக்குலாம் நான் ரூம் போட்டு யோசிச்சிருக்கேன். அதனால இவனுக்கு இவனை இப்படி விட்டா பறிச்சா எனக்கு அசம்பிளில கூப்பிட்டு பிரைஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. அதோட வாய மூடிட்டாங்கன்னு. சரி, இதுக்கு மேல டவுட் கேட்க மாட்டான் அப்படின்னு. Then there is this is how theories and logics are actually questioned in your entire exercise. It's a joke, but I think everyone is above 18 here in this room, right? All students. Okay, this is a Sardar joke. Okay. No, அவ்வளவு பெரிய மேட்டர்லாம் கிடையாது. சப்ப மேட்டர் தான். இவ்வளவு பில்டப் கொடுத்துட்டு சப்ப ஏதாவது சொல்லாதீங்க சார், நினைச்சுக்காதீங்க. So there is this one Sardar who was trying to learn what logic is. அவரும் இன்னொரு நம்ம மெட்ராஸ்கார ஃப்ரெண்டு வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸாம் படிச்சுட்டு இருந்தாங்க. And the whole subject was logic. So he went and asked the Sardar friend, மச்சான் புரிஞ்சிச்சா எல்லாம் அப்படின்னு. I am able to understand everything மச்சான், but this logic-ங்கிற பாயிண்ட் பண்ணி எனக்கு புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. I don't know what this logic is. அப்படின்னு இவருக்கு எப்படி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றதுன்னு தெரியல. Okay, listen. I'll tell you sequentially, you try to understand. Okay. So I have a fish bowl. Okay. He said, okay. And there are fish in it, right? Okay. I feed the fish, right? Yes. Okay. But if I'm not there, my wife will feed the fish, right? Yes, right. So logically, I'm married, right? Yes. So this is how you build the logic, one by one. So this is how you understand the logic. It's like, oh, okay. அப்படின்னு புரிஞ்சிச்சு. நீ ஒரு வாக்கிங் போயிருக்காரு. போனோடனே இன்னொரு சர்தார் ஃப்ரெண்ட் வந்தார் ஆப்போசிட்ல. வந்துட்டு, மச்சான் ஆர் யூ ஏபிள் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் எவ்ரிதிங்? எல்லாம் புரியுது, இந்த லாஜிக்ங்கிறத அவர் மட்டும் எனக்கு எதுவுமே புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. ஓகே ஓகே கம் ஹியர் ஐ வில் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் அப்படின்னு உட்காந்து. ஓகே டு யூ ஹேவ் எ ஃபிஷ் டேங்க் அப்படின்னு அவர் வந்து யோசிச்சுட்டு நோ அப்படின்னு, ஐயோ சாலா ஹோமோ அப்படின்னு ஓடிட்டான். According to him, only if you have a fish tank, you are married and you are you're a heterosexual or a bisexual or whatever you call it. But if you don't have a fish tank, he's homosexual. So he ran away from him. So you can test your own theories and you can form your own theories. So honestly, my friends, the point is, it takes some level of intelligence and a genuine amount of time to understand a theory, folks, right? So this is where you are trying to understand and assimilate a lot of facts in your minds and say whether this theory works or not, and that's why you spend a lot of time. Why the time is required. So there are lots of examples where things are theoretically correct and practically wrong. This leaning tower of Pisa was not designed to lean like this. It was designed with an intention to stand, and something went wrong in his calculation and the soil was not taken into account considerably, and that's the time it started leaning, and luckily it stopped. It is a wonder today because it stopped. Otherwise it would have been history. You would have been drawing a straight tower and you said it used to be here, and circle it, and when you're drawing the campus of Pisa, right? So leaning tower of Pisa became so famous just because it was theoretically correct, but practically it went wrong. So this is where you need to test your theories and see if it is really working. So there are a lot of things like that which are theoretically correct and practically wrong. For example, a customer service is, you can see that image, calling and says, sir, is it plugged in? And the guy says, yes, do you think I'm an idiot? But practically that's right. He has actually plugged it in, but it's not working because he has not plugged it through the source. So, and this is online dating in 1920s, you can see. And this is Dragon Mom Corner, veg moms, chicken moms, a lot of moms sold there. And find the X is here. So there is a lot of these things are theoretically correct if you read the sentences and look at the image, right? So practically they are wrong. So can someone tell you, some of you tell me some examples in your life or in architecture, not just in architecture, where you thought it was theoretically correct but practically went wrong? I want some answers. Let it be a fun session, guys. Come out and answer. Just give me some examples where you thought it was theoretically correct but practically went wrong. வந்துட்டாண்டா, அங்க கடிச்சு இங்க கடிச்சு கடைசியில நம்மகிட்டே வந்துருச்சு. இவ பேசிட்டே இருக்கிறதே பெட்டரா இருக்க, ஏன் கேள்வி எல்லாம் கேட்கறான்னு யோசிக்கிறீங்கல்ல. பட் நீ ஆக்சுவலி you try an answer and you try and come out with solutions, you will find this more interesting. There, I'm sure everybody has crossed in your life at one example at least to think that this is theoretically correct but practically wrong. Some examples, friends. Raman, இப்ப தெரியல என்னோட பழைய ஸ்லைட்ஸ்லாம் ஏன் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்னு. Guys, my biggest challenge whenever I'm going for a guest lecture or thing is making people talk. So my entire 20 minutes of session when I'm starting a session is all about people coming out and talking. But I missed out in this presentation. So I feel bad that my old slides are deleted in this. Now, Raman, excuse me. Next time, don't tell me, don't repeat the slides. So, see, the point is, I start with a question like, what is the biggest fear in life? Okay, at least this answers can I have? Like, what is the biggest fear in life according to you? Just answer me. Unmute or make an answer me. What do you think is the biggest fear in life?
Missing opportunities, sir.
Missing opportunities. Okay, lovely. What else?
It's me, sir.
Sorry?
It's me.
I didn't get it properly. Sorry.
Stage fear, sir.
Stage? என் presentation பார்த்துட்டான் முன்னாடி. Okay, the whole point is stage fear. Okay, you actually spoiled the fun. Okay, I would have let people talk a lot of times and finally come to the point that it's actually stage fear. The thing is, that is the only problem with us. Why do you think we comment under the table in the class and whistle in the last bench? I am the last bench. And I do whistle, to be very honest with you. Something wrong. We have the right to be wrong, is what I try to say most of the times. And you have the right to be wrong. And so that fool. And is my presentation?
Vivek, your voice is breaking.
Am I audible, Raman?
Break out the voice.
That's what I asked actually, but the screen simply froze.
Yes.
Yes, screen freeze actually. I think now I'm back. Right?
Okay.
You're able to hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So this is the whole point. Like, we are all so closed inside and we are afraid to give our answers and we are afraid to be wrong. We are afraid being judged is my whole point. So break that shell. I'm Raman knows me well. I don't know if you heard it when I said it. I'm the one person that comes out and shamelessly says, I don't know if I don't know. So that is the last minute I've been a fool like that. At that point, that answer comes to me, and after that point, I know the answer for it. So stop being so guarded about being right. That is the only problem. We always like to be right. We always like to be known as the correct person, as the right person. It's okay to be wrong. So, and this is the main reason you don't open your mouths when a question is put to you. What if the other person sees me giving this answer and he thinks I'm an idiot? No. The other person shutting the mouth might be a bigger idiot, but he's not opening his mouth. As simple as that. So stop doing that and just come out with answers. So now tell me, after my 5 minutes of trying to explain, if you have some examples or experience in your life where it was theoretically correct and practically wrong. ரொம்ப கஷ்டம்.
இல்ல ஐடியா இருக்கும்.
Yeah, tell me, sorry.
So first, like a few years back, a power bank was invented. It came into the market. So I thought you generally charge the power bank, then you use it to charge your phone or other devices. So why is it not possible that you can charge a power bank back to it? So it's like unlimited energy, right? It is theoretically practical.
Lovely.
Practically wrong.
We have to give you a same pinch to each other. I had the same question to my physics sir when I was in 6th standard. I forgot to tell you. I was saying you switch on the fan and the fan is running because of electricity. you fix a dynamo underneath that and generate electricity and connect the same dynamo to the fan. And connect the same dynamo to the fan. Once it started, it will generate energy and it will give back to the fan and it'll keep rotating. It'll never stop. So this same question I had with physics sir. Then he has to talk about losses. Energy that is required to move that fan is only to about extent where it moves, and the energy that is created by the dynamo is created beyond the energy that is required to turn the fan, which is to turn the dynamo also, which means that the energy that is created is not sufficient enough to move the fan again. So this logic took some time for me to understand, but I had a similar question. Thanks, high five to you, because I had a similar thinking. Why not fix a dynamo under the fan and connect the wire again back to it, and the fan keeps rotating. Good, lovely. Some more answers.
Sir, so this is Prasanna. So I can say.
Yeah, Prasanna, please.
Sir. Sir, நான் 9th படிக்கும்போது சார் கிட்ட ஒரு டவுட் கேட்டேன் சார் பிசிக்ஸ்ல. சார் கிராவிட்டி லெசன் நடத்திட்டு இருந்தாரு. அப்போ வந்து அவர் வந்து டீச் பண்ணும்போது வெயிட் அண்ட் மாஸ் பத்தி சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாரு. ஸோ சொல்லும் போது அவர் என்ன சொன்னாருன்னா வந்து வெயிட் வந்து எல்லா இடத்துலயும் சேஞ்ச் ஆகிட்டே இருக்கும்பா அப்படின்னாரு. ஸோ நான் அப்போ சொன்னேன் 3க்கு போனா வந்து வெயிட் சேஞ்ச் ஆகும், ஏர்த்ல இருந்தா சேஞ்ச் ஆகும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு சார். ஸோ அப்போ நான் கேட்டேன் சாங் வந்து இங்க இருந்து 3க்கு போனோடனே குண்டாயிட்டாரா அப்படின்னு கேட்டேன். ஸோ வெயிட் கிராவிட்டி அப்ப எனக்கு தெரியல. ஸோ எவ்ரிவேர் பட் வெயிட் டிபெண்ட்ஸ் ஆன் கிராவிட்டி அப்ப எனக்கு தெரியாதனால நான் நீலாம் சாங் 3க்கு போனோடனே குண்டாயிட்டார் சார் அப்படின்னு கேட்டேன்.
லவ்லி சூப்பர், வெரி நைஸ். நான் சின்ன வயசுல 3rd ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் ஜோக் ஒன்று இருக்கு. நம்ம எல்லாம் 1க்கு 2க்கு தான் போயிருக்கோம், நீலாம் 3க்கே போயிட்டாரு. Anyway, next, anybody else? Just think about it, Pat. This is a very nice moment to think about and think back and see what was funny in your life. சரி, எல்லாரும் கதை கேட்கிற மோடுக்கு வந்துட்டாங்க திருப்பி. Okay, pa, I'll go to the next point. So let's understand the facts. So this is my whole point. Getting to refresh your mind is all about 4 years of theory. You've had in your mind 4 years of theory, right? We were just talking about one point about gravity, and I could talk for half an hour. And you had 4 years of theory. Imagine that. 4 years of theory. So this is one question in everybody's mind. Why architecture is a 5 years course? எல்லாம் அழுது எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ற லெவலுக்கு கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். மத்தவங்க எல்லாம் கேள்வி கேட்டாங்கன்னா, ஏன்டா எல்லாரும் 4 வருஷம் தானே படிக்கிறீங்க, நீங்க மட்டும் ஏன் 5 வருஷம் படிக்கணும்? This is a very, very tough question everybody faces in life. As an architect, even you will face it. And why is architecture a 5 years course? So if you think about it, and you will understand why. Whenever there is an theory that is given to you and that is practically applied in life, and that is going to directly affect somebody else's life, right, is where you need to train yourself so well and be in this world before you could be a professional, right? So Bachelor of Architecture is a professional degree, one that must equip students not only with the theoretical knowledge of architecture concepts and principles, but also practical skills to design buildings that are safe, functional, and aesthetically pleasing. So there is a reason why our course is designed for 5 years, and it's 100% justified. You can see all the images on the left, that is all designed by somebody, probably some architects or probably some civil engineers or anybody. But this is a very, 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 very responsible job. It is not like any other place where you do something and if it fails, it's okay. Here, if you lose, if you fail, you are very lucky if only the money is wasted and only the time is wasted. But lot of times lives are wasted. You should remember that part. Mughaliwakam site இருக்கட்டும், இன்னைக்கு வந்து CMDA ல bylaws மாத்திட்டு இருக்காங்க. Whenever, and we are always very, very reactive. I don't know why we are not proactive. ஏதாவது ஒரு பில்டிங் இடிஞ்சிருச்சா உடனே ஓகே லாஸ் எல்லாம் மாத்து, இனிமே இப்படி வைக்க கூடாது. தண்ணி வந்துருச்சா ஓகே இனிமே பேஸ்மெண்ட்ல ஜெனரேட்டர் வைக்க கூடாது. So we are very, very reactive. But you can't be reactive all the time in your life. You have very limited chance to correct yourself and be practically right? So this is one of the main reasons why you spend a lot of time in your design studio, right? And design studio அப்படிங்கிறது it's a skill. Okay, it's not something like a course where you are enrolling yourself for the Master of Arts or something. Like we are allowed to sketch and sketch and sketch, you get the skill, right? This is not a sketching skill you're developing in this course, right? You're not trying to be artists here, you're becoming architects, right? So every line in your drawing has a meaning to it. When you draw a line, it marks a level difference between two rooms. It can be a sharp line as a cutting point, and it can be a sharp elevation point. That line, single line you draw in one paper, costs time, money, and quality. Remember, every line you draw in your paper. So this is where you stop and think whether am I doing it right? When it comes to a paperwork and when it comes to execution, right? So this is, you spend a good deal of time in design studio and work in local architectural firms and civic leaders and even travel abroad to see some design work overseas. So இதெல்லாம் is all to test your theories and to understand whether you're doing it right. Because your problem when you make a mistake in architecture is not going to stop with you. It's going to be someone else's problem, and it's going to cost money at sometimes. And if your luck is bad, it's going to cost lives. Or a simple example, or a highways or a road or a intersection design பண்றாங்கன்னா அந்த டிசைன் பண்ணப்போ ஒரு 10 days of testing period allow பண்ணுவாங்க. அந்த டெஸ்டிங் பீரியட்ல என்ன வேணா நடக்கலாம். In the testing period you might meet the open panna 10 minutes you can meet up with like 20 accidents there. So this is all not a way to test other people's life, putting other people's life in risk, right? So this is such a serious task you are given with, my friends. It's not as simple as that. So there are lots of things you need to learn before you get to the practicals. So there are 4 stages in my understanding. First is you see, second is you observe, third is you learn, and fourth is you do, right? So in the sequence of activities, what happens in your mind, when you are trying to read something or learn something, right? So please be very clear, seeing is not observing. You can very simply see something, but it doesn't mean you have observed. Observation is a knowledge acquired out of understanding the fact from what you saw, but seeing is just physically seeing. It's as simple as hearing and listening. There are lots of difference between the terms. So it is not just right when you're a bookworm. When you're just under the books, right? அதான் தமிழ்ல ஒரு அழகான saying இருக்கு, ஏட்டு சுரக்காய் கறிக்கு உதவாது அப்படின்னு. So stop being a bookworm. And in a being a bookworm, நான் சொல்றது stop getting knowledgeங்கிறது கிடையாது. Don't stop with the book alone. Is my whole point. If you're stopping with the book, then you're not understanding what it is. Question everything, because only an inquisitive mind will find the right answer. ஏன் உலகத்துல ஒட்டிட்டு இருக்கோம், பறந்து போய் மேலே நின்று ஏன் அமெரிக்கா காரனால இறங்கிட முடியாது, இப்படி எல்லாம் நீங்க யோசிச்சாதான் you will get the right answer, right? I'm just giving you one example. So there are a lot of examples like that in your own architecture. How many of you understood the golden proportion? How many of you understood what the modular man means? What are the 8 sections of divisions in the body, which all the anthropometric details are spoken about? Why are we following British standards? Why are we still following British standards? Because just they gave it to me and that came to us for free, and they ruled us for some time. That's as simple as that. We have evolved our own constitution and our own laws. Everything is tailor-made to India, but we are still following British standards, which is Indian standards are directly copied from British standards. We are still using the same railway system with the same track laid by British 200 years ago. So my point is, don't simply keep following things. You need to test things practically, right? And understand why. In the madri architecture first year la irundha eduthinga, there are a lot of questions that will come to your mind, my friends. What is the work triangle? When you design a simple kitchen, why should it be only 7.2 meters between the distance between sink, kitchen sink range and sink range in the refrigerator or wherever you store materials? Why is it becoming a comfortable kitchen only if it is 7.2 meters? There are lots of questions that arise in your mind. What is anthropometrics, right? Why anthropometrics? Why should a countertop be only 750 mm? Or why should you not raise it more than 830 mm? There are lots of questions like that. And what is a skirting? Why is there a skirting? And why do we need to leave a skirting in the floor? And why is the skirting varying between different materials? The skirting for the tiles is different. The skirting for the wooden flooring is different. The skirting when you do a vinyl flooring is different, or you just leave the concrete skid is different. What is skirting? Why does it? What is the whole function of doing a skirting? So I'm only giving few examples that come to my mind in this point in time, right? So there are so many things of 4 years of theory in your mind that you need to question and understand why. So that is where your whole training comes into your whole picture, right? Let us first of all understand what is the purpose of your training first. When you're going for a practical training, what is the purpose? Understand the purpose first, then you'll know what you want to gain out of it and got to gain out of that experience. If that clarity is there, right, why do we even need practical training? So these are the facts I have given to you to actually simply sit and think and try and understand what this 4 years of theory has done to your brain. There are a few exercises in my other classes where I ask different students from the first year to come and draw on the board. I give them simple exercise like draw a rectangle, draw a square, draw a triangle, and then draw a triangle, whatever shapes, 4 shapes. By the way I direct them, first draw this, next draw this, next draw this. Everyone would do a composition or do it in a form. But one similarity between all the first year students, I love this exercise when I go into first year students, by the way, is that they would have started from the left and progressed towards the right. So this is all because right from your childhood, you are taught to write all your letters from left to right. So your hand automatically goes from the left to right, right? So this is how your design thinking also is framed. This is how you think, I should compose this form. And this is where your intention about symmetry building and how to break it, all this comes. So there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen in your mind, my friends, before you become a practical architect. So this training is what will give you that knowledge. That so have that clarity. Don't just think about the fact that you're going to have some extended fun in a practical way, in an office atmosphere. No, this is a platform where you test your theories. And luckily, you have a chance to come back to school again and learn some more. That's a very good arrangement that you do your thesis after your practical training. In some other parts of this India itself, there are chances where you submit your final thesis and then go to the training and then continue your architecture practice. I wouldn't agree with that system much because it doesn't give you a chance to come back to school and learn something more which you missed, right? I think this arrangement is great, that you submit your review thesis after your practical training. So there is a lot of changes that your mind would have undergone in this practical training period, and this age where you do your design is what in this 4 years is a complete span in your entire life where you're given absolute freedom to design, right? When you step out of this course, when you come into the actual practice, there are 100 bylaws restricting your imagination, my friends. Right from the setback to height limit to local bylaws, whether you can have the parking down or up, or what is the height and what is the proportion to which you need parking. The lot of the volume of constructed spaces, the FSI is different. So there are 100 different ways each and every space behaves. So your imagination is going to be controlled after you come out of this course, and testing that to an extent before you get out of the school is your practical training, right? So remember that fact, and you understand the purpose of your training first. Theories are theories. You have hundreds of theories now, but is that right? And is that required? And how do I apply it in my life? Is what the training you need to really think about. So now when it comes to the next part of how do you choose a firm, for your practical training, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about it. And this is my personal opinion, again, I am not saying this is the best way to go about, but this is my personal opinion. Opinions might differ, and I completely honor the other thinking also. In my opinion, choose any firm, but preferably small to medium firms, like about 25 to 30 people is what is a is a small or medium firm in my understanding. This is more because when you go to bigger firms, the projects are more complex. First of all, they handle acres and acres and big projects, and the staff are obviously busy. So there is less focused attention on you, and the capacity to contribute and gain meaningful experience is very limited. These are my takes and my understanding about choosing a firm, right? During my training times, I remember going all around different places in Chennai, Bangalore, and even little abroad in some other places in Karnataka, trying to get a um, good firm for doing my practical training. I will never ever forget this experience I had with CRN Architects. Mr. Raghavendra Rao is such a great man, and the level of projects that I handle in CRN. Um, Level in CRN, right? I was a third year student, and I had this portfolio made and a bunch of sheets of my sketches and drawings and everything. And I used to go and wait in CRN's office every morning till evening for 3 days. You know, and I used to sit there. And those days, kind of online logging, setting, and all that were not available. You just have to make a phone call, and luckily, if you knew a person there, they will fix up an appointment and can go there. Otherwise, it's just barging in. Those days we just had yellow pages where it had list of few architects, and you can call up and say whether can I come, and that's all you can do. And otherwise you practically hear it from other people, find the offices, go and sit there. So in CRN's office, I remember sitting for 3 days, from morning till evening. I'll be sitting with the sheets, and Mr. Raghavendra Rao will actually go uh, and come back and go and come back. He'll see me going, and there are lots of people seeing and going. And the point is, there are few more students sitting with me. I'm not the only person sitting there. There are few more students sitting with me, but I was the student that continued to six for the fourth day also. So Mr. Raghavendra Rao had some courtesy in his, heart, and said finally, allow the student inside. I want to have some chat with him. So I went inside, and I was so happy I got the chance, and I started opening my sheets one by one. I thought he's going to give me 2-3 minutes to quickly see, and I was rushing up. But he said, you know what? You take your time. We waited 4 days, and I really want to spend some time with you. You show me the sheets one by one. So I remember showing all my design and detail to Mr. Raghavendra Rao, and he took the time to see. And you know what he said, which I'll never ever forget in my life? He said, please join a smaller firm. With your capacity, if you come here, you will do a little bit of drafting, and you'll be like a support staff helping the architects. And please don't join here. You go to some other smaller firm. That I can never forget him. And Raman and I have a lot of experience with CR, and now we have worked with our projects, the Citadines project in Chennai, for 4.5 5 years with them. And they're a lovely team and a very experienced team. We know everyone personally in CRN today. So I met in the capacity of a design head, again, Mr. Raghavendra Rao in one of the Green Building Council, and I took his blessings and said, do you remember me? I was like, no, sir. No, obviously I don't remember you. No, that's very obvious. You have seen thousands of faces like me. So I explained this thing to him, and luckily we shared the same flight to the Green Building Congress when we flew to Hyderabad. So I had this lovely chance of sitting next to him and chatting this entire thing to him, which he was laughing his mouth out and completely saying like, this is really funny, and see where life has taken you today and how we are sitting and discussing as fellow architects. So it was such a lovely experience. So finally I found a firm in Bangalore where I accidentally went in. I was walking with all my sheets around, and I saw this MTV's office. MTV those days were very big and very funky, and that was a happening channel those days. Loud music, funky exteriors, and all that. I was admiring at their building and constantly walking up and down. And suddenly one day I turned on the left side, I saw there is an architect's firm board written there opposite to MTV's office. So I was like, okay, what is this? Arun Nalapat Architects, by the way. So I was like, very interested, went there and asked. There was one architect sitting in that small office, and he said, what do you want? I said, I'm in trainings, I'm a student, I'm looking for some training. So he took my sheet, saw that, and he said, okay, today it's only me in the office. If you want, you can join tomorrow. He said, what? I was like so shocked. And it's like cute, very lovely, cute office, and looked about, say, 2000 square feet or 3000 square feet area. And I was like so happy. He said, it's only me today. Tomorrow you come, everybody will there. I'm like, okay, I'll come tomorrow. So next morning I came and I was waiting in the office. One person came and opened the door, and I was sitting inside in a place, and another person came, and another person came, and I was still waiting and waiting. He's like, what are you waiting for? It's like, you said everybody will come. He said, this is everybody. That's when I realized there are only 5 people in the firm. The 2 more people came later. So there are only 5 people in the firm. But trust me, friends, today my design thinking, the way I approach a design and way I think when a problem is given to me is absolutely out of the training I heard in that firm. It has molded me so much in design thinking that Mr. Arun Nalapat is a very creative person and a very, very fun-loving person. And he has spent a lot of time in the US before he came to India and set his private practice. So a huge amount of learning happened there. And I'm so happy that I chose that firm. And today they have grown really big, but when I was I was a trainee, there were only 5 people in the office, and those 5 people are still in contact. And I love that contact because it's a very, very strong contact even now. After a few years, when I became the design head of Ascot, I went and met him once in that capacity to do a pre-Q for one interior project, and he was so happy to see me in that meeting. So even now, if you ask me to draw a detail, one detail comes to my hand very easily, like a chaja setting out, and that I'm not able to break because that came from that firm, and I'm very happy that I'm stuck with that because that's a good detail that comes into my mind. So my only advice, my friends, is choose a medium-sized firm. Don't go for just the names. Just don't go by my resume will have this name that I did training here, and it will carry a weightage later in my life. No, you will be easily forgotten, and you'll be just one more name in that ledger that sat in that chair for 6 months. That's it. Simple. So choose the firms wisely and choose the firms where gives you enormous learning potential, and it gives a role for you to play. Just don't be the simple handyman that carries an erasers and erases the wrong drawings and submits it to a client. No, you are there to learn and see to that you get the right opportunity to design something, test your design skills, and get corrected by the seniors. I know this is all the practical training is all about. So when you want to choose your firm, how do you do it? First ask your seniors. As simple as that. But if you're the first batch, and if you didn't have seniors, like we had luckily one senior batch. I'm from TC, Tyagaraja College of Engineering. So my seniors were the first batch, and till date, I've gone to different colleges and reviewed. I've been an external examiner and all that. Till date, I have not seen such hardworking and productive students like my senior batch. My immediate senior batch. They didn't have any reference, but I still remember each and every one of their sheets and the amount of work they have done in each sheet, and it is all hand drafted. Today the connection between the seniors and juniors in my batch is so strong because we have worked on every one of the sheets physically, hand drafted. Because those days ragging was like mad. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have it today, but we were ragged to death. And that is the bond we carry even today. That the kind of nights and night outs and night outs we spent with the seniors to completing the sheets and all that. The bond even today is amazing. That the bond between us and our seniors is not the same as the bond between us and 2 years hence later, or the seniors and juniors after that came later. So because it became digitized and taking help was not really a major thing, they were able to complete everything by themselves. So that interaction between the students kind of got cut down drastically because of intervention of this, of this technology, I would say. But those were lovely days. So this is first ask your seniors. So if you don't have seniors, seniors are not just seniors from your college, right? There are so many other colleges, and you can refer, you can talk to seniors of lots of other colleges. Don't feel shy to talk to any of them. And check with your immediate distant family. Lot of people fail to do this, by the way. ஏய் சொல்லவே இல்லை, நீ எல்லாம் ஆர்கிடெக்சர் ஃபார்ம் வச்சிருக்கியா அப்படின்னு உங்க சித்தப்பா வந்து உங்க அப்பாட்ட எப்பவா சொல்லியிருக்கலாம். அவர் வந்து ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்சர் ஃபார்ம்ல ஒர்க் பண்றாருங்கிறதே உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. Talk to your family members first and understand you will never know where the opportunity is hiding, pa. You have to ask, you have to talk. And the last resort is internet search. Like there is a lot of LinkedIn profiles where HRs of different companies are available, and there are a lot of direct company website registrations. You all might know about it. So the classy statement that goes, Google se bach ke kahan jaoge, so this is very, very classy, and this is true. It's not as simple a statement as funny it is, but it is true. Today's internet is so connected that you can get any kind of information from it, and especially architectural firms. So select firms not only for getting trained during that particular period, and also think about an employment opportunity after completing the architecture course. Lot of my Arun Alapat architects, I remember him calling me and saying, if you're interested, no, even when I'm left with a letter when he gave me, he in fact said, if you're interested, you can come back and join this firm any day. But my travel was all different. I started my own private practice when I was in my 4th year with the support of my own staff, in fact, our own teachers. And 3 of us started into a partnership firm, and we grew really big in 1 year that I had to branch out to Chennai, and I had 12 people working with us in Chennai office when I was 1 year old as an architect. So that is a different story. But these are the criteria you need to check when you're choosing a firm. Where, how to get trained, what. So choose a firm where you'll have an employment opportunity also, not necessarily a huge firm. Again, it's just not about money, my friends. I know architecture is a very poorly paid profession when it comes to your initial days. Your training and your salary as an architect working in a firm will be much, much, much lesser compared to your engineering students who are placed abroad or placed in a campus interview, and they will be earning in lakhs already. But where you start with a 20,000 salary or 15,000 or 10,000 salary even today, right? So it's not the money. Remember, இப்போ வந்து அண்ணாச்சி கடையில போய் பாத்தீங்கன்னா எப்பவுமே ஒரு அண்ணாச்சி கடையில ஒரு சின்ன பையன் வேலை பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பான். அவன் என்ன பண்றான், உங்க அண்ணாச்சி உங்க கடையில வேலை செய்யறானா பையன், உங்ககிட்ட வேலை செய்யறானா அப்படின்னு கேட்டா அண்ணாச்சி என்ன சொல்லுவாருன்னா, இல்லப்பா வேலை பழகுறான் அப்படிம்பாரு. நம்ம கிட்ட தான் வேலை பழகுறான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாரு. அவங்க சொல்ற யூஸ் பண்ற டேர்மே வேலை பழகுறாம்பாங்க. இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் they are paying him for doing the job. There's a lot of difference where ஒரு வேலை பழகுறதுக்கும் வேலை செய்யறதுக்கும் நிறைய டிஃபரன்ஸ் இருக்கு. நீங்க எந்த ஃபார்ம்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணாலும் நீங்க ஆக்சுவலி வேலை பழகுறீங்க, அதை ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. that is why you're paid so less, because the knowledge you take out of it is good enough to sustain as an independent architect later, right? So that is where you make money. Not necessary that you keep earning and earning and earning from one association with a firm, right? So your intention should be to gain knowledge at this point, not money. Be very clear about that. I know it's very difficult, pa. I know not everybody is from an affluent background where you can support yourself completely, and this all comes so easily. I'm from a very humble background as well, so I know the difficulties of earning very less in your initial stages. But trust me, weigh the knowledge today more than the money you make. Your life will be something different in few years, in very, very few years. But make your choices right. So this is one thing, a lot of that comes to everybody's mind, like, does going abroad really help you, as an architect? This fantasy is there in everybody's mind today, that I need to go abroad. First of all, going abroad is good. First is the affordability, whether can you afford it. Second, is it safe, and the travel distance and all that, and given the current condition, that you need to think really seriously about it. Why go abroad? is, a lot of people think, why should we go abroad? Why India today is actually matching up to a lot of international standards, and whatever work that is happening abroad is actually happening in India, because the information is available and you are a global citizen now. So why do we go abroad? Is to learn the best practices. I've given the answer there. Give 10 different items to 10 different same items to 10 different chefs and ask them to cook a chicken soup. They all will do the chicken soup, but one will be the best with the most effective energy utilized and the right proportion of use. So what is the difference is the best practice, right? So you get to see the best way of doing things when you go abroad, because there are different nationalities, different minds thinking. So that's the only best takeaway when you go abroad for doing a practical experience. But this can happen in any point in life, not just for your practical training. Remember that, because your journey abroad can happen later stage where you've gained more knowledge, and also for an employment you can go abroad and you can come back and implement your whatever beautiful things you have learned. Like I have been in Dubai for 6 years and then came back and started my practice again, and then with Ascot, and then continuing with private practice. All this there's a huge journey that gives a lot of knowledge in your mind. So best practice is something you need to take away from your practical training, especially abroad. So one myth I would like to clarify right now to all your students is there is no enough opportunities. Is the fact that is floating around. But let me tell you honestly, that is a lie. There are no enough opportunities, are the lame excuses of people who don't try hard. I would really, really say this to you. It's all there and opportunities are everywhere. Today in a small town like Dindukal, for example, there are 200 architects coming out every year. Can imagine, that's about a small town like Dindukal I'm saying. So the complete scenario in different places in Tamil Nadu, in India, and across the world. So where is the opportunity? You should also understand, so is our population exploding. When population is exploding, so are the demands and needs, which are exploding, which are growing. And the demands are more, the supply has to be more, obviously. So if the population is not growing and only the architects are growing in number, then what you say is right. There are no opportunities. No, world is becoming a bigger place today. Chennai, if you take, is not Chennai anymore. The urban fringe area has grown so big, which means that Chennai by itself has become big, and so are the opportunities, and so are the developments. So there is no enough opportunities. The statement that says no enough opportunities is a lie. Remember this and take it from me as a practicing architect. That's a lie. And it's all in the mind, and what you need to change when you need to change, right? So this first is like, I would say change has to happen from yourself, not with others, right? So if you want change, be the change, as simple as that. And I gave this example in my other things also. Today you are so angry about driving with the headlines on in the, with a high beam, and you think nobody puts it down. Why don't they have the sense to drive the car with a low beam in the highway and in the room? So probably the opposite person is also thinking about the same thing, that why is this guy not doing it? So I have started driving my car with the low beam, wherever it is possible. So probably if everybody starts thinking like me, everybody will put the beam low. You are thinking the change has to happen somewhere, but the change has to start from you, right? So this is where I said, if you want change, be the change, not by me. Swami Vivek Aanandan said, and luckily I've shared the same name. So this is where I close my session saying happy internship to everybody. Now I open this out for the question and answer session, my friends. Any thing you would like to understand more? I'm sorry, one important session of my theory presentation is missing. Like, Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
So architects are not just architects. Are you able to see the slide?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it says we are everywhere. So when you think about opportunities, my friends, so these are the different fields in a wider classification, where architects will fit in. Are you able to see the slide? Private sector, government sector? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So broadly, you can, segregate your job role into private sectors, government sectors, independent private practice, or academician or research, right? So you take any job for architects, it will fit into this five criteria. And I'm sure you will, in due course of time, understand where you fit yourself, right? So broadly classifying, you can be an architect, architectural technologist, interior and spatial design. So these are three broader criteria again, which will fit into those three categories. So jobs where your degree would be useful include building surveyor, commercial residential manager, higher education lecturer, historic building inspector, conservation officer, landscape architect, planning and development surveyor, production designer, theater, television, films, structural engineering, and town planner. These are a very broad classification. Just when I say building surveyor, don't think it's a small job. If you go to UK or Australia, that's the most paid job actually, and architects fight for the job. So that's one thing. And a lot of people think there are not major openings for government in government sector for architects, but there are a lot of openings, my friends, which we fail to see. If you're interested, Hindustan Prefab Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Public Service Commission, Housing Boards, Urban Development Corporation, City Development Corporation, State Public Works Department, municipalities, public sector banks, civil services, and defense. These are all government sectors which actually provide jobs for architects, right? We simply go out and say there are no more jobs. There are so many opportunities actually available. Just in government sector, I've just listed few that too. There are a lot more in fact. And commonly enjoyed job profiles for BA and pass out students are architectural engineers, architectural historian, journalist, building researcher, interior designer, section engineer, branch engineer, art director, building contractor, building inspector, landscape architect, set designer, and technical illustrator. So there are lots of government jobs like which these are very common, like in Department of Railways, Design and Building Development, like any CPWD, and Department of Post and Telegraph, National Building Organization. So 8 alternative careers for architects, other than you being an architect. Today, not many architects get being, continue to be architects. They choose a lot of other profession. And this profession is something, is a beautiful thing that molds you to be anything and do the best there. In my opinion, it actually improves only your taste and molds you as a good person. So you can be in writing, you can do law, you can do business, animation, culinary arts, marketing and communication, film, and just being an entrepreneur. So these are all different alternative professions architects are taking. So you will know your calling in meantime, my friends. When you're thinking today, all your exposure is about theories of architecture, and you've learned a lot of theories, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be an architect. So what are the opportunities? What do I do? These questions boggle your mind all the time. I'm not saying no, but finding the answers is a beautiful journey, and you will enjoy that path. And trust me when I say that. Today I have 20 years of experience in architecture, and I've seen every different journey in my life, where I've been a simple part of a design solution team in Wipro, where we design modular furniture right from the micron levels of powder coating to screws. And after doing town planning and sitting in Dubai and working in the bridges of with Halcro, or designing acres and acres of township. So I've seen various range in my career, and today I can fit into anything. So this journey has been very, very, very eventful in my life, and this has been a beautiful, fun-loving journey, right? So stop thinking that there are less opportunities, there are what will we do after this? There are so many architects around. Everybody has enough opportunities. This is a fact. You have to trust it, and you will realize it in the way to go, right? So it's all in the mind, and it's time for change. Stop your thinking that there is very limited resource, there is very there are no less opportunities. So this is where I actually go to that slide where it says, if you want to be the change, be the change. So this part was missing in my previous slide, apologies. And that's where I say happy internship. Yeah. So any more doubts, any questions? Now I'm just opening the forum for question and answer. How much time have you taken, Suresh? Sorry.
No problem. We are having time. Almost 20 minutes is there.
Great. Okay. So, if you want to make use of it, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, Pa. Anything at all.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Sir,